For most of your time spent playing Borderlands, you'll be using the best weapons you find, sticking to only the top tier guns to carry you through the game until they're so overworked the trigger turns to dust as it's pulled. But what if you wanted to use as many weapons as you could possibly find? Can you beat Borderlands by using every weapon you find? Because this is a violent video game for toddlers and not a choose-your-own-adventure book, the only decision the collective us has to make is which character to play as. You can make any weapon type work with any class. It's not like you'll be locked out of using shotguns because you were stupid and didn't pick the siren. My extensive research, including and limited to remembering the last time I played through this game, revealed to me that Roland was the right character, mainly because as a soldier, his fingers know their way around a fire's arm. Now that we finally graduated from the tutorial and gotten my first gun, I can explain how this works. It works the way you think it would. If I find a new weapon, I use it until I find another gun. The same goes for shields, grenade mods, and class mods. The only part of this that may stretch your brain is chests, to make this simpler for all involved parties. When dealing with multiple items, whether that's from an open chest or a boss killed, I can pick any single item from the bunch. Trying to swap between items to really use as many as I possibly could would be annoying. As I struggled immensely to conquer this jump, nothing happened. But moments later, Claptrap was down for the count. Sadly, she's the Tony Stark of the Borderlands 1 Mitten Squad cinematic universe. Early on, getting new weapons is a treat and a delight, and if your parents raised you right, you'd know that means they should be rare, meaning I don't get new weapons very often. Killing bandits for money now, I've gotten pretty good at this put crosshair on bad guy press button win thing. And if you're worried that there aren't enough new weapons yet, consider brute forcing those thoughts into what I'm demonstrating now. Think about what's happening, and you'll get it. My point being, there are many times where it felt like I was playing gun game. With every life I extinguished, a new toy emerged from their body, only for me to get bored with it moments later when a fresh distraction revealed itself. Having at least started this challenge in Borderlands 1 through 2, as well as Borderlands 4, the quest for Borderlands 3, I can safely say that the ammo stores in 1 are the absolute worst, though not quite as bad as loading into Skag Gully. I started playthrough 2 with the same character after I beat the final boss. Spoiler, I got there if you can believe that. And both times, after blowing open the door to Skag Gully, the game crashed. Both times I did the tried and true backwards approach to fear, and it solved the issue. My quest was to kill 9 toes. Only having 9 toes makes him insymmetrical, and of all the things I hate, insymmetry and made up words are up there towards the together portion of that list. At some point in the last paragraph I leveled up to level 5. It was a big moment that I would have loved to witness, but I was too busy not being a good parent. In the gully, I turned 9 toes and his furry friends into ugly stains on the dirt, spoke to Baja again, and at level 6, had me a second choice to make. The question is, which branch of this tree is worth giving some fertilizer? Infantry, being the namesake category, seemed like the best choice. Tier 1 and 2 each had a skill that applied to all weapons. One in Tier 3 drastically reduced the cooldown period of my combat boppo, and the final one is missiles. They're the Swiss Army knife of military armaments, with as many everyday uses as combat uses. Because Scar wasn't satisfied after picking on an orphan, he picked on good old TK Baja, who has been described by other Firestone residents as alive and person. A dumbass wasteland puppy stole his leg. As I tackled multiple missions throughout Skag Gully, I leveled up again, found Scar, and of all the 2 bosses I've faced so far, it's easily in the running for first or second place. With all the Beyblade seeds safely organized in their ridiculously overstuffed neon green binder that's filled with random shit from every class, I returned to Firestone because the time had come for Bonehead to be slain. This is attempt number 3. That's right, I did try a second time and I didn't tell you about it, and I never will. I really thought TK's radioactive vomit-colored shotgun was gonna kick ass, and never have expectations been so rocked to their core. I used the fail-safe technique of buying a gun from the box to give myself a chance in attempt 5, made Bonehead's body do a cute little death spasm, snagged his gun, got to kill 1 guy with it, got some wheels, met the one and only father of a shepherd, used the most effective tool possible to kill fast-moving, low-health, bunched-together flying enemies, and was off to retrieve the Mine Gate key. I spent about 15 minutes eavesdropping on someone who was probably dead, but I got to the arid hills eventually. In these hills, I started noticing that I have this awful habit of deploying my turret the second before I get downed. I think it's because when this game first came out and my brother rented it from Blockbuster, I played as the Birdman whose parrot isn't a clingy bitch. It remains independent even if its master dies. I snagged myself a powerful as all hell rifle, you know it's badass and tough because of the camo, and thought myself to eliminate Mo, Marley, and me. The thing about cannon fodder enemies is that they can sometimes drop trash, ruining your plans to kill their parents. I assume all these skags are somehow related, and that there's a giant 1,000-year-old Mother Deathclaw sitting underground somewhere puffing powdered milk out of her udders. I didn't kill Mo or Marley the first time, or the time after that, or the time after that, or the time after that. Somehow, they managed to be the toughest enemies in this entire game for me. I build-a-beared myself a sniper rifle for show and tell before entering the underground fortress where the giant man slumbers. I almost got him the first time. Real close I came. Found a gun that almost made me cry, had to use it, and you know that video of the horse chomping on that little baby chicken? That's what happened to me. I almost screamed when I managed to kill him with a knife in fight for your right to flight mode after running out of ammo. Commandant Steele warned me. I spent the better part of 15 minutes trying to kill Mo and Marmalade again. I got Mo, couldn't slay her brother yet, got down by the exit, and rage quit the game like a little bitch. The next day, 10 more minutes were wasted on Marlton. I did 3 rounds down at the animal shelter fighting pits. That's kind of a dark thought. I raided the home of some electric crabs. The crystals containing their offspring will pair wonderfully with my Save-A-Lot brand crackers, and entered the forge to kill Sledge. Because I was 9 levels higher than the bandits, and I'm generally pretty good at games when I have a substantial handicap, nothing came close to stopping me. And neither did Sledge, thanks to the purple gun I got from the box he left for me. The big man was down. I took his gun as my prize, I cleaned up bird shit, entered the Doll Headlands, and fought Skagzilla. The trick to killing Rockzilla is to have a big f***ing gun. I don't have that. In 4 minutes of frantic scrambling and accidental discharges, I didn't even get his health down to half. I'm sure real gamers have known about this for centuries, but I learned that if you have a slow-firing shotgun, depending on how slow it is, it's sometimes faster to melee right after you fire. It'll skip the pump animation so you can fire faster. I tried to kill Staggerella again. I probably could have finished him off too had I reloaded and fired instead of using my knife. After searching for a new gun, I tried again and failed again. Then, the God of Fate smiled down on me when he sprinkled an extermination quest all over my Borderlands pie. Combat slugs have turned the racetrack into their home, and they need to go. You could run through them with a vehicle, or, if you want easy experience, you could put on your ammo belt, roll up your skirt, and make it a much more interactive genocide. I did a couple other odd jobs here and there to make ends meet. I blew up some fuel tanks, turned a guy into paste, and baffled at the thought of which skill to take next. I already got 15% more gun damage, my fire rate goes to the moon when my bloodlust strikes, the amount of math involved in that tier 3 perk scares me, the missile launcher is disappointing, so what's next? I sat on it for a bit, tasted glory by killing a few aliens, continued doing side jobs by f***ing with a few valves to delay Half-Life 3 again. I got a rocket launcher as a reward for what I did to those baby bugs down at the race car themed insect daycare, and returned to the arid hills to teach those 2 4-legged bitches what happens when you refuse to die. I just killed Marley and saved you 115 minutes. Back in the headlands, I took on Mad Melvin to gain entrance to the next area. I killed Skagzilla at some point. I'm not sure how I missed that. Speaking of things I've missed, I don't think I've really mentioned the story at all. I'm a mercenary for Vault-Tec, sent to track down 4 pieces to open the door to the original vault. But it won't be easy. Loved ones like TK Baja will tragically kill themselves along the way. Big Bird will respond to a mating call, only to be pelted with lead, and kings will be dethroned. As I marched towards the castle courtyard, towards King Wee Wee, I very briefly got the opportunity to use a good gun. Upped my storage tech deck again for absolutely no reason, readied the widest coffin you've ever seen for King Wee Wee, and gathered parts for Scooter, which turned out to be a nightmare. The turrets in the prequel to Borderlands 2 are unfairly overpowered, or I always had shit when I was trying to deal with them. Could be either, could be neither, who cares? Still doing whatever work I happened to stumble across. I spoke to Marcus, who instructed me to use scare tactics to keep a rival gun guy out of business. With my guns and bullets, and the help of a few friends who are no longer with us, I was able to build a brand new submachine gun that I'm almost positive I didn't get to use, and entered the scrapyard to save Earl from himself. He was rude to me one time, which was why I left his pet Skag to rot in a cage forever later in life. Earl wants peace and f***ing quiet, and everyone knows the quickest way to get silence requires a lot of loudness first. Bullets, explosions, screaming, death, the works. I've skipped over a good portion of this game, not that it really matters. If you want more story go watch my first Borderlands Can You Beat video. Getting to Crom's Canyon was probably one of the most difficult parts of this game, thanks to 2 laser turrets and a man turret. I spent about 30 minutes in that canyon. At this moment in our story, Paul has yet to realize that he's going to let Earl's pet starve to death, so he picked up the canned Skag food anyway. There's really not a lot to say about Crom's rocky shithole. I wasn't as impressively overpowered as I had been in previous areas. You might think that because I have a sniper rifle, I'm in the perfect position to sit back and attack Conrad from a distance. If you managed to understand how wrong you are, you'd be dead. Your brain wouldn't be able to handle it. With Crom dead, I took the developer's intended route back to the start of the area. I'm almost 100% sure I said that in my first Borderlands video. Gave the key back to Portland Terrier, and was headed for Detroit. Taylor Cobb is a knob living under a bridge who controls the passageway, and the only way we're getting through him is to give him what he wants. What he wants is what all brothers want, to see their brother die. The brain of the lesser brother erupted into a confetti of guns. I spread the news of the upcoming celebratory mass blinking, which will happen at exactly 1:15 p.m. 15 seconds in on April 26, 2021, and I strongly encourage all of you to be ready for it. Turns out that offing Janice was a mistake. Taylor turned Janistown into Taylor Tucky. Naturally, offing another leader can only make the town a better place. The was more cowardly than expected. He didn't even have the common decency to be a lower level than me. Several attempts on his life, with an assortment of different weapons, were made before success was found. His seeing eye claptrap let me across the bridge. Yes, I killed a blind man, and I'm pretty sure he didn't see it coming. You know the real game is beginning when the game calls what you're about to face a challenge over and over again. I ignored all the feral worms chasing me to save my rocket launcher for the adorable challenge to come. It took almost 5 minutes and damn near every rocket I had, but I killed the giant bastard with my knife, got the last piece, and this is where I left Earl's Skag pup to die. If you go right instead of left out of the entrance area, you can free his dumbass animal. Tannis, being the uptight slut she is, refused to continue helping me unless I freed her claptrap from Old Haven, and Old Haven is not a fun place to be. The amount of bullying I received from the people there is rivaled only by what I get from my Discord server. Turrets are up high in all corners of the map, badass enemies are all over, Crimson Lance are like soldier guys, so they drop weapons more frequently than a lot of other enemies, which is not the benefit you'd think it would be. Think about it, they're not going to use weapons that are effective against themselves. After dying countless times and tracking down 3 maps to lead to buried treasure, I made it out of Old Haven with the claptrap, took to the sands to set sail towards my prize, did a blind 360 jump off a cliff because I trusted Todd would have good things in store for me and wouldn't let me die like that. My prize sucked, and because I was more into this playthrough than I usually am for most videos, I began the 3rd DLC because it starts at around the low 30s. While searching for boxes, I thought I fell off a ledge and did that panic swipe with my mouse while I stood there motionless. Lost a bunch of money on the respawns I suffered through to kill these Lance assassins, and as I crossed the Rainbow Bridge I thought to myself, no. I started the 4th DLC, the one where Claptrap becomes the magic school bus, and because I remembered there being some secret loot room in the main hub area. I couldn't find it. I didn't really even look for it either. Nothing says Mitten Squad like giving up before you even make an attempt. Back in the real game, I arrived at the Salt Flats to get the actual last vault piece from Baron Flint Cole. I wasn't lying when I said I got the last piece from the Berg Clown Car monster. I was just wrong. Once the 4 cars were ruthlessly destroyed, it was time to get inside Thor. As I pounded my way through Thor's base with quick bursts, pinpoint precision, and the occasional use of a knife, I kinda felt like God. At the top of the Big Dig Sandbox digger excavator crane with 360-degree rotation and base, it hit me in the face like a fingerless bullet that even gods make mistakes. And mine was thinking that I was a god. Rocket launchers in Borderlands the First should be avoided at all costs unless it's worth using or you like rocket launchers. Flint's Party Starter is a great example of a gun being great when used against you, and god-awful when you use it. Remember Pierce? I think I've mentioned her. Well, she's kinda like the main antagonist, and she just betrayed me. What's worse though, is that she hired f***ing cheaters to strike me down. The only way back to anywhere from the Salt Flats is the back door, a hidden passageway tucked away in the corner of a cave that's filled with walkways for people and areas for things to be and exist. Helen left her most trusted subordinates, Fox and friends, behind to put me in my place once and for all. I was as surprised as he was when he died. My sniper only did 66 damage. I should have been vaporized the moment the auctioneer lifted up the storage ward to reveal I was for sale inside. When Helen slipped away in the night, she also stole Tanis and hid her away in this Crimson Lance base that is weirdly obsessed with cars. With her found, and the 3 mammoth motherfuckers lurking between me and the outside, now being a puddle of corpses on the ground, I began the monster task of finding 3 computers and turning them off and on again to fix the fast travel system again. If I had $1 for every time I had to repair the fast travel system in a Borderlands game, I could feed the entirety of a third world country for a month if every single person in that country was dead. I was excited for this area. In my Borderlands 1 legendary only weapons playthrough I did live on Twitch a few months ago, I got a legendary rifle in this exact spot and the moment stuck with me. I remembered it forever. No such luck this time. I reckon I've already had my share of luck for the year, seeing as my doctor told me in my liver test results that I, quote, dodged a bullet, then I got a legendary rifle anyway. With the increased fire rate that comes from one of the skills I took, just about any weapon can become great in the right situation, like when you're inches away from the afterlife and you're arguing with the devil about how many times you said the fuck word. The aliens start showing up more once you cross the bridge to where more of them are. The last tower was, you know, fine, I thought. No need to dwell on anything there. Tanis is free, I'm free, and the chase is on. Steel has a key that says do not duplicate and is on her way to Home Depot right f***ing now. Now if I was like one of those dipshit gaming journalists looking for something to criticize, I would say that the Guardians are a cheap way to make you feel powerful because they give you so much experience and level up your weapon so fast. Luckily, I'm not one of those people. I love this. The opening bit up until you leave Firestone, and this last bit where the E-Ink aliens are everywhere are my favorite parts of Borderlands. I'm a gamer. Of course I'm a sucker for bigger numbers on the screen. That egomaniacal godlike feeling came back when the aliens did, and didn't really leave until I beat the game and got sad because it was over. A chunk of the way through the canyon I noticed a pale red dot loitering on my minimap, and you all know how I feel about that shit, and I'm proud to say that I handled it like a champ, according to myself. And just in time for a present for me, an automatic death machine, paired with multiple sources of regenerating life-ending lead cylinders, made quick work of every living creature that got in my way. I made a lot of angels in a matter of minutes. And a lot of these angels could fly anyway, so now they're like New Game Plus angels. Heaven Prestige mode almost. Soon enough, I found myself at the end of the road where I dispatched of the few remaining enemies, found the last chest, and took a moment to appreciate what was about to happen. This playthrough means so little, and this box determines what I finish it with. Trash, as it should be. In the gun's defense, I think it was the highest dealing damaging gun I've had, so it's fitting that I finished the game with it. On the topic of defending things, I will say this about the final boss. It lasted longer than it usually does. It took a little over 4 minutes, and I'm shocked to tell you that the closing moments of the fight were actually tense as hell. If I missed a shot, I'd do it all over again, which would have been devastating. As you probably expected, I beat Borderlands by using every weapon I found. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, leave a like. Leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video or didn't learn anything. Thanks to the Champion tier supporters as well as other channel members for making videos like this one possible. Join the Mitten Squad Discord server by going to mitten.land. Follow me on Twitter @MittenSquad. My name is Paul of Mitten Squad. Have a wonderful day.